Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bill Tendo and the Retro Lizard show called GameOnia. While Bill Tendo's sitting there, totally. And we have a special guest, Lyndon, who apparently eats ass.
Only
Oh,
on
he
Wednesdays.
eats butt.
Only on Wednesdays and public holidays.
Oh man, Lyndon, why don't you tell us who you are, man? Tell us who you are, Lyndon, because I don't really know too much about you except for what Bill texted me about a certain something that you did. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, man?
Sure. So it's kind of a mixed bag. So my trade, I'm a commercial attorney. I own a commercial law firm, but my side hustle is I have an online store for graded and sealed video games called High Score Gaming. So a bit ago, I just started getting into collecting my old games that I had to sell during the global financial crisis. I've just been leaning into that. But outside of that, I just kind of live my life doing whatever I want to do. So, like, I wanted to publish a book, so I did that. I wanted to set a Guinness World Record, so I did that. Assassin's Creed Black Flag made me want to sail on like an old-timey pirate ship, so I did that too. So just I kind of live my life like an RPG, if I'm honest.
Hold on a second. What did Black Flag made you do? It made you want to sail an old timey pirate ship, and you did.
Yeah.
Tell me
Yeah,
about that.
have you ever played Assassin's Creed Black Flag?
Oh, it's my favorite one ever.
Yeah.
Favorite one ever.
It's not even an Assassin's Creed game. That's a pirate game, but it's like a flawless pirate.
I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah, so I wanted to sail like an old-timey pirate ship. And so I ended up getting hooked up with a guy up in Massachusetts who connects people with like old sailing charters around the world. So then I flew to Greenland and then worked on an actual pirate ship for 2 weeks while I sailed up to the North Pole.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's absolutely amazing.
By video games.
So you sailed from Massachusetts to the North Pole?
No. I flew to Greenland and then I sailed from their capital for about 10 or 12 days up to a place called Ilulissat. But yeah, just full on working on the ship, like pulling the ropes, working the sails, like sleeping in a tiny little like crew cabin. Whole bit. It was great.
That's awesome, man. That's really awesome. That's what an experience.
So I have this buddy back home in New Orleans, and we worked together as construction partners for like 5 years straight. We lived just like a mile from each other. We rode to work together. We rode home together. We worked together as partner all day. So we spent like probably 60 hours a week together. And we always joked around that, like, there's certain things we're going to do if we win the lottery. And one of them is we're going to hire the Yin Yang twins to record an album with us as the Yin Yang quadruplets. And we're going to sail around the world in a pirate ship.
I don't know the first one, but I highly recommend the second.
So this ship that you sailed on, was it like a mimic of a pirate ship? Like were you? So what I'm thinking is like you're telling me that you were on there for 2 weeks. Yeah. And living on the boat for 2 weeks, and I'm thinking that you're sleeping in like a sheet just hanging from two poles. You know what I mean?
It's like below deck in like a tiny little cabin, and like your bed is like as wide as you are. But it was a fully restored 19th century sailing vessel.
Oh,
and the guy that owns it, all he does all year round is he just sails the world and picks up people and like drops them off, and people pay for the pleasure of being part of his crew. And like it's a legit full service 19th century pirate ship.
I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah, no shit.
No shit.
Joel, we could be legit pirates. And
bro.
Well,
I don't want to be a pirate.
No, we do a little bit of pirating.
I mean, we're modern day pirates, right?
Right.
In our own ways. Oh man. So wait, so you're a commercial attorney?
Yeah.
Cool. How long have you been an attorney for?
So I think it's been maybe 12 years now. So I was an attorney back in Australia. I did like the whole big law thing, but then I met my wife, who's American. So I moved here, and I've been practicing here since 2017, so about 7 years now.
Nice. Congratulations on that. My wife is a principal law clerk for a judge for the Supreme Court over here in Erie County.
That's amazing.
And I'm technically a retired paralegal. Because I own my own arcade business. So I was a paralegal for 15 years. I got my degree in it and whatnot. Did personal injury for 15 years. Ended with medical malpractice, and I was making more money building the arcades. So I asked the wife, if I can take the risk, and she let me take the risk. And here I am today, a year and a half later, building arcades full time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the dream. Like, I gotta say, I was an executive and general counsel for a defense contractor, and when I left there, I told my wife, "Look, I want to do my own thing. Give me a year, and if I can't get it to work for a year, after a year, I'll just go and get another job." It's like
Right.
if you end up doing what you described, where it's like you get it going and your thing has legs. Like for me, that's the whole idea of freedom today. Like just working for yourself on your own terms. It's amazing. There's nothing like it.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of stress. But with any running any business, there's always going to be a lot of stress to it. But it's still a lot of fun, and it's still convenient that I can make my own hours. So if I don't feel like working one day because I don't feel like working, I can do it. But I got to be careful with that, because then you can get lazy and just not work for 3 days straight.
But the hard thing as well is like you got to do the work that's in your hands today, but you also have to be working on finding the work that you'll be doing in 6 months. So it's
Right.
like that's where the stress comes in, because it's like if I don't do the second half of that, then stuff just dries up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
When it actually in the arcade business, it's more like if you're not keeping up with social media and posting
Oh,
what you're doing, it dries up, and then people don't see what you're doing. So it's hard for the business to keep going that way. But I started doing this in 2020 as a side hobby, and I kind of made myself a small name in the community for being reliable on the things that I do. So people still know the name and whatnot, which is pretty cool. But can we talk about your graded games behind you? Are those all sealed?
Yeah,
Every single one of them?
I only do seal it. What do you want to see?
Well, first of all, you have a sealed Mario. Do we dare
Yeah,
ask how much you even paid for that?
like this I was like showing up to my kids like
is that a hang tab?
no, so it's the plastic hang tab. It's the 1989 print.
Gotcha.
I could never justify or afford a cardboard hang tab or a sticker seal that's still sealed. But even now, I've got a 4-year-old who's like really into Super Mario Odyssey. So just like being able to have like the Mario I played with my dad. Where is it? Mario I played with my dad. The Mario I played with my brothers, and then I've got the Super Mario Odyssey. So there's the Mario I played with my sons. Like
Right.
it's
Right.
like an intergenerational, like really beautiful experience.
Yeah, it's the circle of Mario.
And we just missed Mario Day too. So I wish it had come on that day, but I only do sealed games. And to your point, like social media is such a big thing, but I haven't even set up a store on Instagram yet. So we're pretty much invisible, except for some like dedicated communities on Facebook with direct sales. Because it's not my full time job, I don't need to be like some of the other stores that have had really high markup or have failed. Like if something sells, great. If something doesn't, great. Like that's fine too. I'm not trying to like support like 4 full-time employees or families on this, so I don't need to do insane markup, and I just get to enjoy it.
That's me.
That's me too. Yeah.
It's sometimes definitely sometimes it sucks all the enjoyment out of it. It's
The
not
pressure. I can't imagine the pressure.
Oh, it's 24/7. It never stops. Let me tell you, the best thing that has happened to me in the last 6 months was for a day and a half, my electricity was out this week for a windstorm. And I hung out with my sons. We had a fireplace going, we had candles. I read an entire book in a day and a half. I hung out with my sons. We played cards with my wife. It was fantastic.
It was the 90s.
Yeah, my phone didn't ding one time.
You can't beat that. That's relaxing, but also stressful too, because you ain't got no internet.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like I resolved myself immediately to not giving a shit, because I'm always on call 24/7. Message me, I'll message you back as soon as I see it. And it just, when the power went out, I was like, is what it is.
I feel that.
My wife and I drove to the gas station because she had to check a message, and she's like, are you checking your messages? I said, nope, I'm looking at TikToks.
I'm looking at TikToks. I probably would have did the same thing. This is why I like streaming on Wednesday nights, because it splits the week up. Myself running a business, I'm Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, I'm working from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. I take a break between 3 and 8, and then I'm back at it around 8:30, 9 o'clock with remote logins with customers until about 11 o'clock every night. So splitting this up on a Wednesday night gives me a little bit of a break, and it's awesome. So yeah. So what's the book you wrote back there? What does that say? A part of you?
Yeah, so I had like a bucket list of things to do, and when my wife and I, before we started having kids, we're just like, all right, so what do you want to do in life that'll be impossible after you have kids? So one of mine was that pirate ship trip in Greenland.
Right.
Another one was, I wanted to publish a novel, but I never had just good ideas. So for like 6 years, I just think of good one-liners. I just had a Google Doc. I just wrote down the one-liners. After like 6 years, I just went back and looked at them all. And I'm like, oh, like I could think of a story that could link all these together. And then before we had kids, I just sat down to write the thing. So it's like a romance novel. So like it's very different to law, very different to creative video games. But I took the item off the bucket list, and it's on Amazon. So that's there now.
So it's a bromance? Is that what you said?
It's a romance novel.
So what? But what's it about? What's the bromance?
Wait, did you say romance or bromance?
Romance.
Oh, romance.
I thought it was about two homies hanging.
My man's over here.
About two homies hanging out, dude.
That's what I'm saying, right? I'm like, yeah, nobody writes a bromance.
Why doesn't anybody write a bromance book?
That's it. We just get an idea for the next one.
No, I mean, general premise is like a couple finds out that the wife is infertile, but all the IVF clinics have shut down their doors because of a lawsuit. And so she emotionally blackmails her husband into sleeping with another woman for a non-surgical surrogacy.
My man's over here writing the new Daniel Steele shit.
Yeah.
I wish. Like, I'm trying to sell the film and movie rights to it. So if someone wants a new Daniel Steele-esque book that's like you ordered it from Wish.
Yeah, look at Norman Roberts here.
Yeah, right? Good for you, man. That's pretty cool. That's really cool.
That's awesome.
So do we go ahead, Bill? I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I've actually in the last 2 years I tried to write a sci-fi novel, and I got about a quarter of the way into it, and in my head it was going to be very short, a novella, and then when I realized how much I had written, and then in my head I'm like, I'm only a quarter of the way into this. It was longer than I had expected to write the beginning. And I have, I've piddled with it here and there, but that's it. Because I was like, I just wanted to write a short thing. But then I start over explaining things. I like to try to paint the picture,
Well, I mean, that's just world building. I mean, you see that.
Right.
Anyone that's a good storyteller, you got to set the stage.
Right.
Like, and that goes for anything, like, in your businesses. If someone asks you what you do, you got to tell the story. You got to build the world. Like, you got to explain, like, the arcade cabinets, the lines of passion, the lines of thing, who your
right.
are. Like, anyone that's a good storyteller has to start with world building. And I don't know if you like transition that to video games. The best video games are the ones that just have beautiful and deep worlds, whether it's like massive and you can explore, or it just has really deep lore where it's like you can really dig into like the history of the entire universe that they created. It's all about world building.
Right. Got to. So are we gonna talk about your world record?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So give us some details on that. Tell the world and everybody watching what you did.
So it's not very impressive. I would get embarrassed when I talk about it. So the record is, I've got the world's longest marathon playing a Lego video game, and I played Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, for 30 hours straight. It was the first and last Lego video game I've ever played, but I got the record.
So before I ask you how you did it, this is what I'm thinking, right? And this is a half serious question and half funny question too at the same time, because I'm curious how you did this. So I'm thinking you're wearing like a diaper and you're slamming Red Bulls for 30 hours straight, and you're just peeing in the diapers, right?
Just
with
go,
like
man.
a bag of Doritos next to you.
So I'll give you a serious answer and also like the half serious answer. So for every hour that you play, Guinness World Records gives you 5 minutes of break time. And you can stack it, so like after 12 hours of play, you could take an hour break if you wanted to. And if you have to log everything, like every time you do something in the game, every time you take a break, you have to log it. The evidence requirements are insane, and that's the hardest part of it, just getting all the evidence and submitting it. But if you check my times, like I was really diligent. Like first break was like minute 30 seconds, next break 3 minutes. I was really trying to stack my breaks. But someone gave me pizza like 15 hours into it, and that pizza did not sit well. Like I was having like, and then you see it's like 3-minute break, 5-minute break, 15-minute break, 33-minute break.
Somebody gave
you can really
you got Pizza Hut, didn't you?
In the break, like.
Sound like Papa John's,
right? Or Pizza Hut, one or the other.
right?
It was bad. I mean, it tasted good, but it was a bad night.
So that was going to be my question: if you had like authorized breaks and stuff like that, because obviously, you can't literally sit there and not use the bathroom for 30 hours.
Right.
Correct. But 30 hours is chump change for some of these records. I think like one of them, the longest marathon playing a first-person shooter is like 12 days. Like I don't know, we didn't die. Like actually died just from lack of sleep.
Right.
But the other piece is the logistics of it. Like the playing of the game is sitting and playing gaming for 30 hours. That's easy. Like you can turn your brain off for long enough. But you have to have 2 witnesses at all times, and they can't be related to each other, and they have to be over 18. And they can't do a stint for more than 3 hours at a time, which means you need at least 4 people on rotation all the time, and you have to film it. You have to have logs. Why I chose that game from? That's a good question, Matt. So there was no record for playing a Lego video game. I actually contacted the Guinness World Records because I used to look at their Guinness World Gaming Records book. I'm like, there is low-hanging fruit here. There is no marathon for a Lego video game. And the Skywalker Saga just came out, and I'm like, that's 9 games, or that's 9 movies. Like, that's pretty easy to knock out, like 24 plus hours in one sitting. The mistake I made was I left the sequel trilogy till last. So like I'm 25 hours in, and then I have to start playing as like Rey and those terrible movies. that was the worst part. Like you're already tired and like having to run to the bathroom. Like I've got shit on the screen and the other. Like that was a rough playthrough. I should have done that.
That's right. When you got into that really dark spot in the whole thing.
Like, I gotta play these shitty games.
Yeah,
they were bad movies and they were worse games. And that's why
Oh, hey, come on, they weren't that bad.
They were that bad.
They weren't that bad.
As a matter of fact, I asked my son today, just out of the blue. We were both in the kitchen. I'm like, what's the worst line you've ever heard in a movie in your entire life? And you know what his answer was? Somehow Palpatine came back. It's the worst line in any movie ever. It just summarizes that whole trilogy. Like it could have been done so well, and it was not.
Right.
It's worse than that because it also undoes what happens at Return of the Jedi. Like it doesn't just ruin.
Well, okay,
like,
so
no, it doesn't exactly undo it because they made
they
made that Emperor a clone.
So
it
doesn't
exactly
undo it because as a huge Star Wars fan my entire life, I was huge into the Star Wars EU. I read all the novels, the Courtship of Leia, the Heir to the Empire series with Grandmaster Thrawn, all the comics, everything. And the thing we did learn about Palpatine is that he had at least 100 contingency plans in case he died. There was plans for everything in any conceivable way he would have lost that he could come back and win again. But you didn't know any of that. And then in the third movie, they're just like, somehow Palpatine came back. I mean, like, how are you filming that movie and say that line and everybody around you isn't like, we're working on a real piece of shit.
So I was more pissed off that Rey wasn't related to she wasn't a Solo. Like I was hoping that she was secretly a Solo.
I was calling her lines as she was saying them. It was so predictable.
Well, in the books, there's the twins. You know, Han and Leia had the twins, right? Yeah. And they're gone now. Like they're not even part of this. They're not even part of the fucking universe anymore.
Kylo is one of the twins.
He's supposed to be, right? And then I thought maybe they were going to incorporate Rey into being the other twin, or
that
at least
Rey. Cool.
or at least her secretly being like a Skywalker somehow, you know, not a Palpatine. Like that completely threw us for a loop. And then she adopts the name at the end of the movie as a Skywalker. Like that was bullshit. So the Rise of I thought episode 7 was good, but episode 7 was just a repeat of episode 4 in a different way. So episode 7 I thought was pretty good, and then the next two were just shit. They it's almost like they were trying to repeat Empire Strikes Back but in a shittier way. And
Yeah.
then Rise of the Skywalker just wasn't that good. It was cool to see the stuff. It was cool to see the Death Star. It was cool to see that world, but it sucked, man. It sucked.
Yeah. And this goes for like the sequels generally, especially if they're like intergenerational sequels. I think you want to like sprinkle Easter egg or throwbacks so like the original fans can be like, hey, like that's part of me. That's part of my experience. And rather than just like borrow the entire plot. Like when Rey is standing there like handing the lightsaber to Luke, and she's like, "Are you like Skywalker, Luke Skywalker?" and just toss it over the shoulder. What if you had to say something like, "Oh, that's a name I haven't heard for a very long time." Boom! Instant throwback to A New Hope. Like it sets you up for being like,
Right.
"Oh, yeah,
Right.
Why hasn't anyone spoke to him?" Like there's your throwback, but also your progression. Like
So-
even the Super Mario Brothers movie did that well, because just the Easter eggs sprinkled throughout that movie. You've got multiple generations being like, "Look, did you see that? They're blowing in the cartridge."
What would you consider the whole first movie of the sequel series as an Easter egg in itself, being that it was pretty much just A New Hope with new actors on a different planet, but it was the same fucking story.
It was the same fucking or the same plot at least.
Same plot.
Right. I mean, dude, the first time when they showed the Millennium Falcon, I got goosebumps. And then when they flew the Millennium Falcon, I got even more goosebumps. Like I was excited for that scene, and I thought that scene was badass. I really did. And then the way that they did it, and then once I realized what the plot was, I'm like, it's just the same fucking movie over again. But it's fun. It was a fun movie though. They made episode 7 a lot of fun. The next one was dull. What was the next one? The Last Jedi? The Last Jedi was dull. Mark Hamill, that was actually his idea to take the lightsaber and throw it over his shoulder into the water. Yeah, that was his idea. Because he didn't want, from what I remember from the interview that I watched, he didn't want it to look like he wanted to be a Jedi still, that he didn't want anything to do with it, because that's why he was in isolation. That was the whole point of that. He wouldn't want to touch the lightsaber anymore, because the lightsaber didn't bring him anything but, what do you call it? But death, basically. Everybody died around him. Didn't bring him anything good.
One of my favorite things that always gets glazed over with Luke Skywalker is if his uncle and aunt would not have been stubborn at the beginning, he would have joined the Empire, because that's what he was saying he wanted to do. He wanted to go off and join the Imperial Academy with his friends, and they're like, "We need you for one more season on the farm." And then he becomes a Jedi. But if they wouldn't have done that, he would have become part of the Empire at the very beginning.
I've watched that movie like probably literally over 100 times. I have to watch that again to see if it is. I think you're right. That is the Imperial Academy with Jason Wedge.
Not only that, okay.
I thought he wanted to go join the Rebel Alliance.
No, absolutely not. He wanted to join. He wanted to go to the Academy.
Are you sure? Because he wanted to join Dak.
I'm 100% certain.
And Jack don't join the Rebel Alliance. He wanted to fight the Empire, because that's what he says to Obi-Wan Kenobi. He says, "I want to join you and fight the Empire."
Yeah, at that point.
Look it up.
I'm doing it now.
Give me the lines. Put it on the screen. As we sit here, wait in silence and anticipation.
Yeah, to your point, I think that they took the entire plot of A New Hope. I wouldn't call the whole movie.
Okay, here we go. Got you right here, guys.
I've been watching this movie since I was like 4 years old.
Luke Skywalker didn't consider joining the Empire for any ideological reasons. It wasn't that he'd swallowed Imperial propaganda. In fact, Owen and Beru appear to have sheltered him from it as much as they could. Instead, Luke's interest in joining the Imperial Academy lay in a desperate desire to get off-world.
Bravo.
What?
I stand corrected. Happy to admit where I'm wrong.
I'm not accepting that.
Also, I'd like to point out, it's not just my fan theory. There's enough evidence to support it. Boba Fett is the one that killed Owen and Beru.
Because they were burned to death, right?
Yes,
They were incinerated.
They were no. The Empire obviously used bounty hunters because they had the whole scene with IG-88 and
That was
Boba
an
Fett.
Empire.
Yes, and he looks directly at Boba Fett, and what's he say? No burning.
Yeah.
And what happened? And they were not. Owen and Beru were not shot to death; they were burnt to death, like a Mandalorian gauntlet.
Yeah, you're right. And those stormtroopers didn't have any flamethrowers on them.
Nah.
No, and they never showed the stormtroopers showing up at his farm.
Right. There's enough evidence all around to support that Boba Fett actually did it.
Boba Fett. You know, I hated the book of Boba Fett when they brought in the Mandalorian and they turned it into the Mandalorian. That fucking really pissed me off. It's like this isn't the Mandalorian show.
Yeah,
this
they should have kept like they could be intertwined, like a little bump here and there, but I want to see two different stories.
We didn't need 3 episodes of Mandalorian in the book of Boba Fett.
We could have used Boba Fett in the book of Boba Fett, because I'd say that wasn't even Boba Fett. And I get what happened to him in the Sarlacc pit and everything, but that was like a Power Rangers version of Boba Fett. It was CW Boba Fett. It was embarrassing.
It was kind of corny.
I mean, you look at the original trilogy, Boba Fett says far more with his silence than he does with his words. But then you've got, these whole soliloquies and robust dialogue coming from Boba Fett, and he's heartbreaking for the Sand People. Like, no, all of this is out of character. Let's see him don the armor and go on revenge, and okay, if the Mandalorians were trained Jedi killers, let's see him go and take on some Jedi.
Right?
Well, he's not a true Mandalorian.
Mandalorian was supposed to be, because everyone's the Mandalorians are really strong.
Mandalorian, it's hard to be what would be considered a true Mandalorian without being part of the cult.
Right. He wasn't raised Mandalorian.
It doesn't matter.
His dad is just Mandalorian.
Most Mandalorians are adopted.
Right, but his dad was just Mandalorian. So that was the only thing that made
of a Mandalorian.
He's right. Well, that's what I considered his dad. Yeah. So he's a clone of a Mandalorian, but that doesn't make him. It doesn't really make him Mandalorian. It's just Mandalorian by birth, basically. That's it.
Now, I would think Mandalorian if you walk the path of a Mandalorian.
He wasn't walking the path of a Mandalorian, though.
I disagree.
I don't. Because he takes his helmet off. He's like,
no, that's a cult. That's the cult thing.
Yeah, that's the cult thing.
Yeah, but what's her name? Katie Sackhoff plays Bo-Katan. She is a Mandalorian, but she's not a member of that sect. That sect that the Mandalorian comes from is a cult. It's a very small group, and it's a cult of Mandalorians. They don't represent Mandalorians as a whole.
But right. Even if you go outside of the cult version, or whether he was trained or raised as a Mandalorian, the Mandalorian, the armor and the training and the weapons and the proficiencies, they were supposed to be so good that they were the rival to the Jedi. They were the Jedi killers.
Right.
I don't think we've ever seen that outside of original Boba Fett. We see the Mandalorian getting his ass kicked by some wildebeest or some pig, and then he's getting rolled over by other Mandalorian, and then he's getting rolled over by other people, and then his ship was up. We don't even see him getting the shit kicked out of him and being a loser. I want to see some who's the Keanu Reeves guy? Keanu Reeves when he's
John Wick.
Exactly. I want to see that version of the Mandalorian just go around and ripping people straight, boom, 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 just actually ripping shit up with their weapons, not just getting rolled over every 5 seconds, whether it's being built by a cult or being burnt by Darth Maul or being burnt by a pig.
Look,
or drowning in a lake of Sarlacc.
Yeah, my 2 favorite things in the Mandalorian show. Number 1, when Bill Burr was the stormtrooper that punched baby Grogu. That was awesome. And I finally, after my whole life, at this point, I'm 45 years old, I get to see IG-88 in action. And he was badass.
They brought him back, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I was always a big fan of his because he looks so weird.
he was just, it was just cool that he was like a droid bounty hunter.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know, I thought that was pretty cool because he's almost like a rogue droid just all on his own.
Yep.
So the Mandalorian show is fantastic, no matter how we look at it, but it has its flaws to it, of course.
Yeah.
No matter what. But I agree with Lyndon. He gets his ass kicked all the time. Like half the show is, oh, I'm dying, or my ass kicked, or is now I'm recovering from something, or oh, I got shot and I'm bleeding out and I got to recover from this. Like, yeah, or I drowned in the lake where he went to the Mandalorian world and he basically was drowning in the water, and then Bo-Katan had to rescue him. So yeah.
Just as well he's wrapped in plot armor and the Mandalorian medal, because it would have been a pretty short story, honestly. If he got it for an episode, because it'd be fun.
Yeah, right. Absolutely, it would have been.
Damn it.
Oh man,
I'm surprised that, like, you know, we're seeing. I've always said that once Hollywood was done with comic books and once the MCU was done, that video games would be the next source material. And I'm pretty excited to see that. Like, you see The Last of Us, Fallout's about to come out, Halo, the Super Mario Brothers sequel just got announced. And I think that's going to be a continuing trend. I think video game IP is going to be the next big thing for movies and film. But I'm always shocked by just how many creative liberties they take. Like, these franchises that are successful because they had a secret sauce. Like, you look at Halo, 20 years old, like really enduring thing. You look at Fallout, you know, they've got the IP and they've got the look and feel and everything. But then they pick up these things and they just completely change the plot. It's like, what are you doing? Just faithful port. Take the story, put a big budget behind it, and then go and put it on the screen. Like, this should not be that difficult. Don't introduce new characters. Don't take away their abilities. Don't take creative license. Just do the fucking thing that was on this screen. Put it over here. That's
it. And give us a live action remake of Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
Oh god, that movie sucked.
I liked it.
That movie was horrible.
You just had to enjoy it for what it was. It wasn't Final Fantasy in any way.
Or it being boring.
It was just a animated sci-fi movie, and it was good for that.
I'd rather watch Titan AE.
Titan AE was a good movie.
I didn't like it.
Obviously, Don Bluth animation.
Yeah. I what do you call it? The Halo series. I can't get into it because they fucked it up.
Yeah.
You know, they changed it. I can't get into it at all. And I tried. I really did. I didn't even finish season 1 because I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into the whole plot. I was enjoying it when it first started, and I watched like maybe 4 episodes into it, and I'm like, I just can't do this, you know? So I like The Last of Us, though. I thought The Last of Us was really good. I loved watching after the episode was over and we got to listen to the writers of the game, which wrote the show, listen to their take on how they were interpreting the game into real life live action. I thought that The Last of Us was just done so perfectly. And I love that they brought the writers of the game in to write the actual series, and they let them do what they wanted to do. I thought that was fantastic.
But see, and that's it. So I got one here because, again, like, beautiful stories, like that's an absolute cinematic and emotional masterpiece.
Yeah.
But, like, why did it do so well on the screen? Because they didn't change much. Like, they got characters that were really faithful to the source material, and they followed the plot really faithfully to the source material, and they executed the whole thing really faithful to the source material.
And they got to expand on the source. They got to right. That's all you have to do when you're doing something like this. I love that they expanded on the source material too. We got to get more of a background of what happened and how. I thought that was very creative of what they did and how they explained it too. I thought that was I just thought it was a fantastic series. I can't wait for season 2. I think they're going too fast. Like, I don't think that we should be going into The Last of Us Part 2 yet. I still think that we should be working on The Last of Us 1. But they're bringing in characters from Part 2 into the next season. So I think it's going too fast right now. Like, because they can carry that show on for years.
Yeah, the universe could be the next Walking Dead, because I think the latest season that just had Rick Grimes come back, it was AMC's highest rating premiere episode in over 6 years. And, like,
because everybody loves Rick.
Wants a zombie-esque world, but they need to have characters that really drive it, because people get attached to characters, not just worlds. And that's why you need to start with world building, but then insert really complex and beautiful characters. And The Last of Us has that in spades. So I agree, like, if you rush through the story or if you rush through your characters, a world alone is not gonna keep it alive.
Right. No, I agree. I think that they should have stretched out season, or at least season one, the way that they did it. They could have stretched that out into 2 seasons. They didn't have to get exactly where they were going at the end of season one, unless they were writing it as if they were not going to ever get renewed, which could have been a thing that they were doing. But I think that they also, I think it could have been a lot more than 8 episodes. Like, we could have got at least 10 to 13 episodes out of that. The Game of Thrones series, the first season, I think, was 14 or 15 episodes. We could have got that much more out of that season.
I mean, to be honest with you, like, I think that attaches to following closely to the source material, and perhaps that's where the criticism of my approach comes in. That, if you're going to do a film adaptation, it has to be stretched out. But then you've got IPs that, like, they have that lore component where it's like they've got the story and the information before the story even starts, and Halo's a great example for it. Like, you didn't need to introduce new characters like McKee or Quan Ha because, okay, you don't want to jump right into Halo. There's a lot of lore and story behind the origins of the Spartans and what Dr. Halsey did and why she did it. You've got a whole bunch of lore with the Covenant and even just like them consolidating power. You could start with the Four, and it's like there's so much you could build into instead of just having these empty, nothing characters. And even just go back to the history of the Master Chief. Go back to like the Boba Fett. Go back to a character that's strong and anonymous and says more with their silence, their grunts, and just their short responses than these epic long soliloquies or monologues taking off their helmet every 5 seconds.
Right. Like, Master Chief didn't fucking speak in the first game. He should have been silent the whole series.
It's taking off the helmet. Like, the whole thing about these helmet characters is the gamer can insert themselves behind the mask. You see the Chief running in, and not 3 seconds go by where he's busting to take the thing off.
That's a pet peeve of mine when it comes to any movies, television shows, anything. If they have on a helmet or a mask and they're mysterious, the minute they take it off, they will probably not put it back on unless it's for some kind of action sequence.
Right.
So now you have like the Judge Dredd movie. Judge Dredd, I read the comics growing up, never took it off. He slept with it on. And then Stallone's got to like take it off immediately.
Because it's Stallone and he's got to show his face.
I am the law.
Yeah. Rob Schneider did the perfect impression of that too. I liked the Judge Dredd movie though. I didn't think it was that bad for a 1995 comic movie.
It wasn't the worst, man.
Well, like, look at Mortal Kombat. They redid the whole thing on Mortal Kombat for the movie.
The first Mortal Kombat movie wasn't horrible.
The first Mortal Kombat. Don't go there. The first Mortal Kombat movie is probably rated one of the best video game movies ever made. Like, it's at least top 3, right? It was fantastic for 1995 for what they did. It was just a fantastic movie and absolutely amazing for bringing that to life, how they did it. Scorpion was fucking badass in that movie. But I was looking forward to this new Mortal Kombat movie so much. And then when I watched it, I'm like, this is shit. They completely changed the fucking story for no fucking reason at all. Like, why did you stray from what was already invented? And I understand what MK1 did with the game, and I'm enjoying that story of it. But you didn't have to do that with the movie before that game came out. So, and then they're bringing in Mortal Kombat 2, and it's like, you're just going to fuck shit up. That's all that you're going to do in MK2. And there wasn't enough Scorpion, and there sure as hell wasn't enough Sub-Zero in MK1, or the new Mortal Kombat movie that they made either. Like, it was just, I think they just fucked it up. They completely fucked it up. Whoever I don't even remember that new guy character's name. He pissed me off the whole movie. And then there was the shitty the shitty montage fighting scenes, and then that was it? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
I got to 3/4 of the way through that movie, and I realized I didn't know who he was. And to the point where I didn't know what his relationship was to, like, the love interest and little girl. And I turned to my wife, and I'm like, is that his wife, or is this one his daughter or adopted daughter? I'm like, I've watched this movie pretty closely, and this is just bad storytelling because I don't know who this bloke is. And we're about to wrap up this movie. Like, I'm supposed to have an emotional connection here, and obviously they're trying to draw that before he gets the big golden armor. It just fell flat. There was no emotional connection.
Right.
No. And that just change shit. If people coming to watch this stuff have an emotional connection to Mortal Kombat.
So
They have an emotional connection to The Last of Us and Uncharted and Halo and Fallout. They're coming to watch this because they experienced the story. Now they want to experience it again without having to do a 12-hour campaign.
you know,
you come in here and you can change their experience. How do you think that's going to go down?
so that's movie making in general now because, all right, so I'm going to set television shows and streaming shows aside, although they do tend to fall victim to the same things. But since we stopped buying and selling DVDs, there is no second life for movies other than streaming. There's no secondary market. So either it's a success or it's not. Beginning and end, right? There's no cult classics anymore because there's no VHS, there's no DVD. It's just streaming stuff. So Hollywood only wants to make sure bet big budget movies. We don't get things that could be considered risky, like good character development scenes instead of a big flashy CGI fight fest, you know?
Right.
So that's where I said that video game IP is less risky because it's not a new story coming out. You already have an established audience who's gonna come out and see this.
Right.
And it already has its own social media following and its own Reddits.
But they show stuff to us like, okay, so you and I know the story. We know the story behind this game. But we have to suffer through a first movie in any franchise with an origin story of what's going on for the rest of the world who already have this ingrained knowledge of it. But for some reason, every movie studio thinks every movie franchise has to start with an origin story. And it doesn't, man. Look, if you just showed scenes of fucking Batman beating people's asses, you don't have to show that Batman's parents got killed. We all fucking know, bruh. Like, we don't need that movie again. We've had that movie 4 times.
That's why I really liked The Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson, because that movie did not go back to that scene or touch any of that shit. It didn't pick up with his parents dying. It just picked up as a movie. And with I think it was Firefly, it picked up with. I really enjoyed The Batman movie. I thought it was 3 movies in one and a little long, but I really enjoyed the concept of the movie and how they did it. It felt more like Detective Batman than it did anything else. And then you get Batman versus Superman, where they start the fucking movie off with his parents dying.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do we have to relive this? What part of this origin is Batman versus Superman?
And this is a crossover movie.
And then because your moms have the same name, you stop fighting and you become boys? Get the fuck out of here.
The only person we've seen die more than Thomas and Martha Wayne is probably Uncle Ben.
Yes.
Seriously. Yeah. And that's what also was good about the Tom Holland movies, is that we didn't have to see Uncle Ben die.
Yeah. Well, Uncle Ben is fated to die in every universe, I think. So
He is. Absolutely.
I don't think he was ever meant to live in any reality.
So the new Mortal Kombat movie, the other thing that pissed me off about the movie was like Kano is assisting the good guys. Like, Kano is Shang Tsung's bitch, and he's over here in the real world, and he's assisting the good guys. Like that, he had the best lines in the movie, but he was in it. The whole movie pissed me off. The whole movie pissed me off. It was like Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 2 was better than that fucking remake Mortal Kombat shit. It really was.
I think the thing that loses it there was no tournament. Mortal Kombat is supposed to be a tournament. And there's no tournament in the fucking movie.
Somebody said that in the chat. There it is.
Yeah.
There was no Mortal Kombat tournament in the whole movie.
Mortal Kombat, but the name of it is supposed to refer to the tournament. And you know what? We haven't seen in a while. We haven't seen a good tournament movie where it's going to come down to like, actually, no, Squid Game kind of did this. You know, I get that that's an elimination thing, but when it gets down to people, you're like, oh, fuck, I really like both of these people.
Yeah.
I don't want one of them to lose.
Yeah,
like,
Squid Game did that great.
Quick and the Dead, 21st Century Quick and the Dead. If you haven't seen that fucking movie, by the way.
Great movie.
Oh,
great movie.
What a fucking banger.
Great fucking movie. Are you kidding me? Russell Crowe's in that. DiCaprio's in that. Great fucking movie.
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman's in it. Was it Sharon Stone?
Sharon Stone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, dude, what a great movie.
This was back when, like, if it had a stacked cast, it was a good movie, not a bomb.
You know, around that time, we got a lot of good actual cowboy movies that were obviously influenced by spaghetti westerns. You know, we had Quick and the Dead. I think Unforgiven was around that time.
Yeah, that was 93. Tombstone.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
I made my wife watch Tombstone for the first time probably about a month ago. And she's like, that was a really good movie. And I'm like, I fucking know.
Right. Yeah, you guys ever see the movie called Cutthroat Island with Gina Davis?
No.
It's probably, see, I think that's one of the best pirate movies that ever came out. It was like a 1995 pirate movie. I thought it was awesome. I recommend
what's
watching
it rated?
Oh, I don't, PG-13, I think.
Oh, I was hoping it was rated R.
No, hang on. You dick. I was about to look it up, too. Like you had me going, you motherfucker.
Woo! They'll kill
Like
him.
the last good Western, actually, another good Western, the only good Western I've seen in like 20 years on Netflix, The Harder They Fall. If you haven't seen that, that's a good one. That has like real Red Dead Redemption vibes to it, but it's just really well executed.
You know, my problem is I'm always doing something. So I only sit down for a few minutes here and there. I've actually given up on watching any real movies or series or anything. I watch little bits of trash. And unfortunately, I almost don't want to admit this. My wife and I have been watching all of the Love is Blind new season.
That's okay.
Dude, like, why am I watching trash TV? Like, I could be watching something good. Instead, I'm like, that dude, Jeremy, spells his name with an A in the middle of it. He's a psycho.
Dude, I watch
Jeremy.
I watch fucking Vanderpump Rules with my wife.
Oh.
I know.
You got it worse than me, dude.
I went trash. I got sucked into it. I don't really watch it as much now, but I do watch the reruns.
I took my lunch break today and I turned on the TV and watched like the first episode of Love After Lockup, where people get out of prison and immediately marry or move in with their pen pals from prison.
Oh man.
I spent 2 years as a criminal defense attorney in Australia, and so like I have to go into the jails and like go and meet with clients and everything. The amount of times like everyone's like in the communal area for like family visits, and they're just like over here, and the guards are like, hey, or like, speaking to him, and they're like, I'm gonna give it 5 minutes. I'm gonna go stop him right before he's done. Like,
oh, that's brutal. Well, that's good.
So at least in love and Lockup, they wait.
Oh, Joel.
Yes, sir.
What was it that we were talking about earlier? About the non-proper products?
Oh, I hate fucking YouTubers and fucking people that fucking hype products that are just fucking shitty. Like, I really do. Like, you know what brought that up the other day, or brought that up to me and put that in my head that made me bring it up to you the other day to talk about it, was these fucking retro shooters light guns. I despise them. I really do. There's these light guns out there. They're called retro shooters. They're made by Pandora.
Okay, let me get a picture here. If a Sinden light gun is a 9.5 out of 10, what is this?
Like a 4.
All right, now go on. Thank you.
Yeah, is this the one that you put the sensors on the four corners of the TV? And then
Well, yeah, it is. It goes like a box style on the TV.
Yeah.
So like one here, 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 and here. There is another light gun out there that uses 4 sensors called the Gun 4 IR, but it goes in a cross section. So if you're looking at your TV and you picture like a plus sign, it goes at your 4 points over there, like a cross, which actually gives you better fucking accuracy. But these retro shooter guns, they're shitty. They're like $280 with the box for the guns, and you got to be like 6 feet fucking back. They stole the source code from online, and they're marketing it. And I bought them back in September when they were still using the 2 sensor system, and I had to be, in order for me to play with those guns using a fisheye lens on the gun and the 2 sensors, I had to be here, which is about 6 feet back from, let me give you perspective here. Let me back up. All right. I had to be right here playing my gun games. I'm about 6 feet away from the screen right now. Right. I can't stand that. Can't stand it at all, especially with the fisheye lens on it. I shouldn't be that far away from the TV with a fisheye lens. I have a gun for IR right here with a fisheye lens on it. I could sit right here just like this and just bang away at the screen. No issues at all, right? And it's using a 4-point system too. So that pisses me off. Okay. The games that came on it pissed me off too, because there was only like 88 light gun games on it, which is blowing my mind because it's supposed to be a light gun system that you're buying, but it only has 88 light gun games on it, and it didn't have any of the bangers. There was no Area 51, there was no Revolution X, it had Terminator 2. There was no, they didn't have the arcade version of Time Crisis. They had the PlayStation 1 version of Time Crisis. And I'm playing it on my 4K TV in the other room, and it's shit. Like, it's absolute shit fucking graphics on it. And I get it, it's a Pandora box, right? But then I plugged it into the computer, which is where I had to sit all the way back there and use the sensors from all the way back, or use the guns from all the way back there. And they give you this shitty recoil that's inside it, and it just sounds like a popcorn motor. Like, you know that toy that your kid has that's rolling on the ground, and it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it fucking sounds like to me. All right. So, and you got, I mean, they're shit. They're cheap ass guns. You get what you pay for with them. They're super fucking cheap, and they got praised. But they still are getting praised, right? Especially after they came out when they upgrade. So after I made that video, about 2 weeks after I made that video, they released a 4-sensor system. And this is how I knew that they took the code, or I thought that they took the code, the Samco code that I referenced, because this other light gun that I got behind a few years ago called the AE light gun took that Samco code and turned it into their own code by just changing a couple pins on it and marketing it as their own light gun. And people were telling me, bro, he took the code, bro, he took the code, bro, he took the code. And I didn't believe anybody until I got my hands on an actual Samco gun. And it was literally the same thing. Like how I calibrated it, how it worked, the exact same thing to the T. Like to the absolute T. I couldn't believe it. So I stopped back in that gun, and I stopped whatever with that gun. But then these came out, and I'm like, this is the same fucking thing. And that 4-sensor system, you're literally using the same exact sensors that the AE light gun was using too as the bottom sensors. I'm like, how are they getting away with stealing the source code that's free on GitHub? And all they're doing is just changing a couple pins on an Arduino board and getting away with it like that. And then they're marketing it to the world, and then people are praising the gun because you can get 2 of them for like they're $280. But now you can get this other gun called the Sinden light gun that's been out longer. It's not a sensor system. I don't praise the Sinden light gun, and the Sinden light gun community does not like me at all, like by any means. But I would rather use those guns, and those guns work a lot better than this fucking piece of shit does. And it costs the same. It costs less now to get 2 Sinden light guns. It costs $240 shipped from the United Kingdom with tax. To get those fucking retro shooters, it costs $280. And if you want to use it on a PC, you got to buy their PC hub, which is like another $40. So now you're over $300 buying these shitty fucking guns, and you could have just spent your money on something else, downloaded a free image, or purchased something for myself or somebody else. It doesn't have to be me, but you could have purchased something from somebody else to use with those sending guns, and you'd have been you're a lot better. You're a hell of a lot better. Plus, they're built better too. I just the whole arcade community was just praising these guns. I made a video bashing those guns, and I made a video. In the video, I said, whoever is praising these guns, you don't know fucking shit about light guns, and you have never used a fucking light gun in your life, or an aftermarket light gun in your life if you're praising these things. I started off using Wii remotes as light guns 4 years ago. The Wii remotes play better than those fucking guns, and the Wii remotes are shitty. Right. The Wii remotes are more like a gyro gun than anything else, but it uses a sensor bar. You can get a Dolphin bar for them and use them on PC now, and you can also do that with Raspberry Pi. So there was the aim tracks, the Wii remotes, which pretty much play the exact same way, but the aim track gun plays even better. And then Sinden came out, and Gun for IR came out right at like the same time. And they're 2 different guns, obviously doing the same thing, but they're 2 different guns that work better, and one costs more than the other. So if you want to use if you want to play light guns on like a lower end system where you're just playing retro games like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, your older main games, you want to use a Sinden light gun with a system called Batacera. Now, if you want to use premium light guns with higher end games like Transformers Human Alliance, Rambo, Scarlet Dawn, House of the Dead, Tomb Raider, the new Jurassic Park game that's at Dave and Buster that's just got dumped into emulation on Technoparrot. You want Gun for IR on a PC because those guns just pick up and play no matter what. It's just fantastic. Those are the best two light guns that are on the market, and they both work fantastically in two different ways. So I hate it when, and then there's other things that obviously get fucking marketed to that, you know, people hype up and that ends up being shit also. And it really pisses off the arcade community and the retro community when shit like that happens, because nobody wants to do Kickstarters anymore because they don't want to wait 2 years to get their product and back in this product and it getting hyped up and then you get it and then it's fucking shit. You know, nobody wants to do those anymore. Nobody wants to do pre-orders on a product anymore that they don't have in hand and nobody has in hand and nobody's ever seen before. People want the product to purchase it today and then do it and then make a video on it and then tell people in the world how good it is. And those retro shooters were sent to every single fucking YouTuber in the community. And they all made the same style fucking video praising it. I purchased those things on my own. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not. I don't try to be a YouTuber at all. I make videos for my customers and I make videos for information and tutorials and shit like that. I bought those fucking retro shooter guns with an open mind, but thinking that they were going to be crap, but not realizing they were going to be that shitty considering how they were praised. Like, I was blown away how shitty they were and how praised they were. I really was. I just completely went off on like a 5-minute rant. I'm sorry.
I don't have any complaint.
I mean, you got DK oldies, right? People amp them up, or we're amping them up, and they're shitty.
Oh, dude, let me. Okay,
right?
Okay, hold on. So this is something I've noticed because you know me, I'm everywhere, right? I'm on Reddit, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. DK Oldies definitely has apologists. 90% of them are on Facebook for some reason, and DK Oldies apologists are fucking weird.
What do you mean apologists?
Like, people are like, oh, I bought this from them and they were fantastic. You're just mad that they're a good business making money and you're just a hater and all this stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like, hold on. You know, my problem is that they rip off a community that they don't contribute to, you know? That's my issue with DK Oldies. But the DK Oldies apologist thing is super weird to me, and I don't get it unless you look at it in the context of it's easier to convince someone of a lie than convince someone that they've been lied to. You know?
That's true.
So
I guess that's the validation bias, where it's like people immediately go and accept information and validate their perception, and then have to walls up and fight against something that invalidates it.
100%.
And that's where my rant on the retro shooters come in. That's exactly it. Well, your quote, you can convince somebody that it's a lie, but you can't convince somebody that they were lied to. Isn't that what you just said?
Yeah, it's easier to convince someone of a lie than convince them that they've been lied to.
Right. After I made that retro shooter video, I made that retro shooter video like 5 months ago. I still get people commenting on it that goes that is almost the same comment as everybody else. Like, man, you're telling the truth, and man, you're like the only person in the whole YouTube community that has made a video like this, giving the truth on these shitty ass light guns because they're shitty.
What you said just said, I think that's part of the bigger issue where you said, oh, it's the YouTube community. It's like, okay, so now you've cornered the town square, you've cornered the conversation piece so that dissent never comes in. And that's why you can distribute products. It's like, hey, here's your freebies, or you can go your influencer, the people that are productive in the community, and then set the tone for the conversation. It's like whether it's apologists or it's people that are just selling or pumping eBay bids and stuff like that, like this syndicated nonsense is just kind of preventing anyone from having real truth hit the market, which is kind of sad for like every community, but kind of like retro and video game communities in particular, because I'll be honest, like I don't go out there and do a deep dive into these things or try to dig into every controversy. Every industry, every product has it. Like even in graded games, You cannot bring upgraded games without immediately getting race bait. And if you do, then it's, oh, well, what about this controversy or this lawsuit? It's fucking exhausting. Is it a good product or is it not? Don't lie to me. Just give me reviews.
So
I want to see a stacked thing of like,
my feeling on graded games are they're worth what people think they're worth. WADA and Heritage definitely tried to overinflate the market, but that doesn't change the substance of what a graded game is and why someone might want to collect it.
Right.
You know?
So I'll say, so I'm pretty lucky how I kind of fell into it because it was like end of 2022. Like I went through like this hyperproductive cycle where it's like, I'm going to remove every distractant. I deleted every app off my phone and everything. And then I was just sitting around. I was bored of shit. I went on my phone. The only app I had left was like eBay. And I'm like, oh, let me go on eBay. And I remembered like back in 2004 or 5, I won a Halo 2 tournament. But I had to sell my whole video game collection to like get by during GFC. I'm like, oh, let me go and look up old Halo 2 and see if I could just buy that one piece back because it's special to me. And then like I ended up finding this one, and I'm like, what is this thing that it's like? I liked that it was preserved and that it was sealed. And I'm like, and then I found out about graded games. Let me try it totally. And I was like, I don't really care about the grade itself. I like the preservation value. Like, especially with like the old stuff that's like still, especially because I only do sealed. Like, so you keep the sealed thing for like the old cardboard stuff. I don't care that like I don't want creases on this stuff. I don't want peanut butter hands going to this stuff. I just want to preserve. I want it safe from hands and from the sun, just so I can look at it forever.
I don't want these Cheeto fucking fingers. Dude, my kid, I got a 2.5-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And my 2.5-year-old yesterday, she walks in the door after her mom picked her up, and she's holding a bag of Cheetos, right? And you can see the Cheetos dust on the fingers, right? And like she's got the Cheeto dust, the Cheeto drool going on around the lips and shit. I'm like, oh hey baby, what's up? I just took a shower at like 4:00 in the afternoon yesterday because that's the only time I get to shower in my house. And she takes her jacket off and she comes at me and she's like, Daddy. I'm like, no, let's wash your hands first. Like, don't touch me with your dirty ass Cheeto fingers. Like this bald head is shining right now.
Dust it up, boy.
Right, dust that shit right up. But no, I agree with you on that stuff, dude. It's like, I don't want. Dude, I got a Nintendo 64 controller once off a marketplace with a Nintendo 64, and it was the Atomic Purple, and the thing said that the controller didn't work, right? And there was a picture of the controller, and dude, it was gunked up with something. It was gunky, and I was like, hey man, I'll buy it off you. I'm like, with the controller too, no big deal. Like, give me that controller too. I got that controller back home. I opened it up. It was gunked up with barbecue sauce.
Oh.
Like it was like, you can definitely tell that there was some kid that was eating like buffalo barbecue chicken wings or some kind of barbecue chicken, and like they were eating it and playing the Nintendo 64 at the same time, and it just the A button was stuck shut. Like I took it off with gloves. I'm like, this is disgusting. It's got to be the most disgusting controller I've ever held in my life, and cleaned it. And I got it. Once I cleaned it, guess what fucking worked? The Atomic Purple controller.
I mean, probably for giving that control, like that was the iconic one for the N64. But I don't think I can go through that. Like, you see that guy's got a YouTube video and he owns a PC repair business. Like, people send it in, he cracks it open, and it's filled with like, cigarette dust, roaches, and shit like that. Like,
yeah,
I could do without it. Keep your Atomic Purple control. Like, just touching it and remembering the history of that, I couldn't do it.
Look, Joel is sick of hearing about my poor stories growing up, but I grew up in New Orleans in a very poor area, and there's a certain smell that in somebody's house, and that smell is when they have roaches, okay? So I'm not joking. I bought some stuff from somebody down south, and they sent it up here to me in New York, and I opened the box. I smelled it as soon as I opened the box. I knew it. It like brought back ghetto childhood memories. I'm like, oh, I fucking know it. I started gagging. I threw it in the garbage bag. I'm still in my garage. I threw it in the garbage bag, tied it up, and threw it in the garbage can. I didn't take anything out that box. Whatever I paid that dude, I just lost, because that shit was not going in my house.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I don't even want to know what that smell smells like. I've never been in a house with roaches before, thankfully.
No,
Well, here's the thing: is like down there, South Louisiana, South Mississippi. It's always really warm or just plain hot and super humid, 80, 90% humidity all of the time. And so that's a prime environment for roaches. So even the cleanest houses, it's still a constant battle.
Oh, yeah.
You still have to like take precautions to not have roaches. Like here in New York, if I leave a sandwich on my table for 2 days, I don't have to worry about I mean, it's disgusting, but there ain't gonna be any roaches on it. You know what I mean? But like down south, you leave a sandwich on your counter for 2 days. I don't care how clean your house is. It's gonna be a roach on that thing in 2 days.
First time I ever seen a roach was in Georgia. My cousins, they live 45 minutes south of Atlanta in a town called Noonan. And my cousin, he worked for Kellogg. They were in a nice house, right? They got like a nice lake behind their house and shit. He was in a real nice house. Went down there for the first time, and my cousin told me, he was like, if you see a roach, don't freak out because we got roaches. I'm like, what do you mean you got roaches? Outside in his yard, there was a dead tree stump.
Oh yeah, the big ones, the big wood roaches.
Yeah, in the tree stand, there was a nest in the tree stump, and he's like, no matter what I do, I can't get rid of them. He's like, and they come into the house sometimes. So if you see one, just kill it and don't worry about it. Just get it out. Don't freak out. Lo and behold, I fucking seen one the next day just fucking scurrying across the kitchen floor, and I stomped that bitch.
At least it didn't fly at you.
Oh, yeah, I know. I would have freaked the fuck out. Like Joe's apartment shit.
Yeah, I grew up in the Australian version of Section 8 housing. It's like brick walls on the inside, and the roof, the ceiling didn't quite marry up to the wall. And it's Australian, so it's hot as shit and it's humid. So we have roaches. But, like, it's not something we ever get used to. And, like, I remember being asleep. I'm sleeping in my bed. I'm probably like 14, 15 years old. And then I'm doing this in my sleep. I wake up and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I realized there's a fucking roach running on my fingers like it's a treadmill.
Oh my God.
I do this, but I'm laying down. So the thing just goes.
Oh man. At least it wasn't a fucking spider. You guys are on a whole new world of spiders down there in Australia.
Yeah. If you want to see a good one, look up.
I don't want to see a good one because I'm terrified of spiders.
Joel,
I'm terrified of spiders. You put
look up Australia huntsman.
I've seen the huntsman spiders. Joel, let me tell you something. So this is when I lived on the Gulf Coast. I used to like pour myself a glass of iced tea, watch TV, and leave it on the nightstand. I get up in the morning, I take a sip of my iced tea, right?
Right.
Dude, one morning my kids came and woke me up. And so I sit up in my bed and I grab my tea and I take a sip and I let it fall right back into the glass because I felt something in my mouth.
Right.
A spider was crawling in my mouth because it was in the glass of tea.
Oh, man. Oh, God, that would have freaked me out.
It was a fucking spider to this day. Dude, that was, 15, 18 years ago. Right. Me and my kids still talk about it. They're like, Dad, remember when you drank that spider? And I'm like, yeah. I'll never forget it.
Dude, Dude, I am terrified of spiders, like the big ones. Like the house spiders don't really bother me. I'll just be like, and kill it, right? It's the big ones that fucking freak me the fuck out. I can't stand them at all. Like, so when I was a kid, we had a tarantula as a pet. We got it from our neighbor that lived upstairs from us. He asked my brother if he wanted it, and we're like, yeah. And my mom, of course, said yes too. But the problem was the top of the cage didn't latch correctly. So we usually kept something on top of it. Well, the one morning I fucking woke up and that motherfucker was literally crawling up my fucking sheets towards my fucking face, and I freaked the fuck out. I freaked the fuck out. Ripped the fucking sheets off the bed across the room. I shared a room with my brother and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, the fucking spider got out. Freaked me the fuck out. Not even a month later, I woke up. This fucking spider must have had a thing for me. He's crawling up the side of my dresser right next to my bed. Like, and they weren't, you motherfucker. Dude, take it off the screen, man, or I'm gone. Thank you.
Did you see how big that was? Like, bigger than the dude's hand. That's the huntsman.
Oh, dude, I hate you. I fucking hate you, dude. Oh, I hate you so much.
Dude, I swear, this is a true story. In one section of Australia, there was like this farm, and it was just covered, like, it looked like waves of white because it was all just one big spider web. It's just millions of spiders. This just like windstorm blew through it and it picked up the whole thing. And this was like acres large, this giant spider web. Picked it up and it just went up into the air. And I kid you not, everything hatched and it rained spiders over this entire town.
Oh, that's crazy.
True story. Absolute true story. You can look it up.
Dude, I know because I've heard about it. Joel.
Dude, get rid of that fucking screen, man. I can't get rid of it. Fucking get rid of that screen. I hate you so much, dude.
All right,
I
I'll
hate
click
spiders.
it off right now.
Oh, dude, it's embedded in my brain. I hate you.
Yeah, the one like, again, you want to see something good? Look up like Australia spider bird giant.
No, do not do it, Bill.
A spider that has literally caught a bird. And
Dude, I will leave the show. I will leave the fucking show. Don't do it.
Stuck in its web.
I will fucking leave. I got my fucking mouse over the X right now. Don't do it.
Look,
Please don't do
it, dude.
Oh, dude. I seriously, I have an arachnid. I hate spiders so bad, dude. I really do. I can't stand them. I'm scared shitless of them. I am. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a grown ass man scared shitless of big ass spiders. They freak me the fuck out, man. They're all creepy and crawly and shit. They got fucking fangs. Fuck that.
Man, the only thing that really weirds me out is probably grown men called Skippy. So, other than that, I don't like bees. I'm not afraid of them, but I don't like them because you can't really punch a bee, but
bees don't bother me. I can let a bee land on my hand and it doesn't bother me at all.
I'm allergic to them, but I'm not afraid of them.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I get freaked out when they're flying around my head like anybody else does, but my kid can't stand flying bugs at all. She freaks out she freaks out and starts screaming. She can only last outside for like 5 minutes in the summer. I'm like, you got to get over it, dude. It's just a fly.
Ooh.
Yeah. Any giveaways tonight, Bill?
Oh yeah. In honor of Lyndon, we're actually giving away a copy of Lego Star Wars the Skywalker Edition.
No shit.
The Skywalker Saga Standard Edition. Yeah, absolutely.
No shit.
So if you want to win the game that Lyndon got the Guinness World Record for, put hashtag Spider in the chat.
Oh, you bitch. You bitch.
Hashtag Spider in the chat to win. So we can do a wheel spin and we're going to give away a game. No, sick with it. You got to put hashtag Spider. You can't just write Spider.
What do you mean? I wrote Spider. That's what you said.
No,
Spider.
Not you, Joel. I was talking about sick with it.
Oh, got it.
It's got to have the hashtag or else the thing won't pick it up.
I'm like, well,
there you go.
Was that supposed to spell
and
Spider?
By the way, sick with it is Mike. That's my buddy. That's actually Tabby's husband, and he was the 100th member to join N64 Players and Collectors.
No shit.
Yeah, and so what I did was I was really amped at the time because it took like a year to make 100 people, believe it or not. We really blew up later on, Xbox Series X, you son of a bitch. Anyway, it's going to be Xbox One or Xbox Series X. So, anyway, Mike was the 100th member, and I took a picture of him standing outside the urgent care near where he lived, which was in front of a giant dinosaurs, because that's what they do down south. They put a big dinosaur in front of the urgent care,
right?
I guess so you can find it. And so because of that, I took that
on the T-Rex.
Yeah, right. So I gave him Turok Dinosaur Hunter for being the 100th member because I used the dinosaur picture.
Nice. Very nice.
Yep.
Hashtag
that was
Spider.
A long, long way to tell that story. One of my fucking cats is in here.
See, I was going to do hashtag Lego Red Bull.
I like hashtag Spider.
Yeah, you dick. We'll leave it up. What time is it? 10:15. We'll leave it up until 10:17. Hashtag Spider if you want to win a copy. Is it sealed or is it used?
It's new.
New.
Look, I actually have it pulled up on Best Buy right now. I'm gonna buy it.
You're gonna buy it
and have it sent directly to the winner's house.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I don't have it, but I was like, I can't give away a different game. Lyndon's gonna be here tonight. Dude got a Guinness World Record on this game, so this is the game I got to give away. You know?
I can
Is it
tell
a
you
20?
that it's got a solid 30 hours of gameplay in it.
And the new
You're gonna
episodes are the
love
shitty
the
ones.
first 2/3 of this game.
The first 2/3.
I will say you will enjoy the first 2/3 of it, like especially if you're gonna do like the pod racing level or like Obi-Wan versus Anakin in episode 3. Like it's got some good moments. Again, that comes back to that faithful port. Just do on one screen what you already did on the other screen.
Yeah, exactly, right? Just do the same shit. Do the same shit. We got 1 more minute we're gonna leave it up for. 1 more minute. Hashtag Spider if you want a brand new copy of the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga.
There you go.
Yep.
Tell him, Catface.
Tell him, Cafe.
My dog. This cat's name is Catty McCatface because I let the internet name her.
That's hilarious. All right, let's run it. Let's see who's going to be the winner.
She looks like a nice cat. She's kind of a bitch, really.
The Vatchguard, congrats, man. He finally won something.
Finally, he has won something.
Vatchguard, get your info to Bill. You know how to get a hold of him, and he'll get you that copy. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know what else What else you want to talk about tonight, Bill? You got any other topics? Lyndon, you wanna vent about anything, Lyndon?
Yeah, dude.
Really, I'm a pretty chill guy. I don't watch the news. I don't let like a lot get to me. I'm just busy doing my own thing.
Why don't you plug your website? Because you got your website in your business. Give that a plug.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just launched. It's highscoregaming.com. It's I don't know if it's worth pulling up. It's a high-score gaming, so HIGH-SCORE gaming.com. It's not my full-time business, so for me it's a passion project. It's how I enjoy video games now. Like I got 2 kids, 1 on the way, and three businesses. So I got a lot of time for gaming. Like I don't have time to put another 20 hours in Ocarina of Time, but I get to look at it every single day. And so this is how I do it. Like I sell it. I don't have a lot of markup. I help the games find someone who loves them just as much as I do, and then I just take whatever comes from that and get bigger and better titles like the Mario Brothers that came today. Just keep it rolling.
Very cool. Check out that website.
I'm trying to figure out which game I could do 30 hours of. I know I could do Dark Cloud. I could do it.
Bro, I already got 30 hours into WWE 2K24.
So what could you do 30 hours straight?
There you go.
So that's the thing is I could do it with Dark Cloud because my favorite thing to do in that game, and I've completed it 100 times, and that's probably not an exaggeration. And my favorite thing to do in that game is just grind and keep building up my swords because they have such a fantastic skill tree for the swords. You know,
I love building the villages, like kind of like the urban development.
Wait, you know Dark Cloud?
Oh yeah, I do. You can even get the rare slingshot that talks to you. Like
yeah. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Look, okay, so I'm a Legend of Zelda guy. Favorite game is Dark Cloud, and this is not a joke when I say I wrote the book on Dark Cloud. Okay, now when I lived down south, I played Dark Cloud so much that I started keeping a notebook, and it was this thick. Every stone, what it does, every sword, what it turns into, where everything in the game is, right? And then I lost that notebook in Hurricane Katrina. But I had drawn out, like, they're procedurally randomly generated dungeons, but they have specific layouts that they reuse, and you just don't know which one you're going to get. So there's only like 6 different layouts for like the first dungeon, and they rotate them around and mirror them and stuff like that. I had it all mapped out, dude. Love that game so much.
So look, we grew up on the opposite side of the planet. But one thing, and this is why I love video games. Why I went into high school.
Wait, you played it as Dark Chronicle, right?
No, I played Dark Cloud, not Dark Chronicle. Like even on the box set, it said Dark Cloud.
Okay, so only in the UK it was Dark Chronicle, I guess.
Don't know.
Not
But
Australia.
The Australian games are usually just like the American games.
Complete
Australia's pal.
opposite end of the planet. The experience of like writing down the cheat codes or going to like cheat
Oh
code
yeah.
central or game facts or like writing down like your things. That's a universal, like generationally agnostic experience. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter where you grow up. There's certain things about certain video games that are just so universal, and like they're kind of losing that today with just like the live service era and everything. But the stuff that's behind me and the stuff we played growing up didn't matter where you were in the world. Like you played GoldenEye 64. Using Odd Job was cheating. In Super Mario 64, you dropped that penguin off the cliff. I know you did. I know you did. If you played the game, you did that.
Yeah. I did it the other day just too.
Relatable.
So, my wife tells me that it was crazy because I told her she was saying I'm working on this new build right now, and I was talking about The Sims, and she's like, what? I never liked The Sims, and I said, well, I played SimCity. I love SimCity, original DOS game, love that. But as far as playing The Sims on PS2, I told my wife, I said, I played The Sims. I built a house. I put a pool in it. I let the guy go in the pool, and then I took the ladder out, and then I put food in the room by the pool and let him starve to death while the food was right there. And she said, that's psychotic. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure everybody did that.
Everyone did that.
Just like everyone threw the penguin off.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like what I did was I played Theme Park, and I would like build like a ditch, and just let the fucking roller coaster fly into the ditch.
Yep.
And then just stay.
Oh,
or
come
like,
on.
Yeah.
So Roller Coaster Tycoon, we've all built roller coasters that decapitates everybody, right?
Right, or just launches off a corner with no end to it. Like, let's see him go airborne like Superman.
Absolutely. Oh,
yeah.
dude, I could play a Zelda game for 30 hours.
Because we're all secret fucking sociopathic fucking homicidal maniacs.
You know what's funny is that they did some kind of study on people, whether they made unobserved, you do what you want in a video game, there are no real consequences. That the majority of people did mostly good in video games, even though you can go and be a horrible person in any video game.
Dude, I still got a game. I got a game of Red Dead going on right now. I'm literally like 31% into it. I shoot people in the head on the side of the road consistently through the game. My honor is at the lowest point it could ever be, and like I signed a fucking death note with the devil. Like I have so many bounties.
So my brother told me that like in the older games where it's like Fable, for example, right? You would have the spectrum where it's like Paragon versus Demon, and it would tell you where you fall on that on a moral basis based on your decisions.
Yeah.
But because they put that in, people would make their decisions based on, oh, I want to be a Paragon, or oh, I want to be a demon, so to speak. But if you took that meter away and people couldn't see the scale, they made more honest decisions that aligned with their personality.
So this is funny. My son was playing one of the Fables not too long ago, and I think it might have been Fable 3, and he was furious when he finished the game because one of the things he did was to be a good king at the end of the game is to save all of this money so the city had money for a long time. Be remembered as a good king, right?
Right.
Instead, he should have bought property because basically another kingdom had infiltrated and bought up all the property, and eventually the money that he had saved was squandered and he was remembered as a hopeless king or something like that. And he was so mad because he thought he did everything right for his kingdom to be remembered well. And he just wasn't.
Hashtag cheap ass king.
I'm playing The Witcher 3 for the first time now, and I'm like right at the very beginning of it. But the one thing that I liked about that is like the outcomes of your decisions are not predictable. Like you're like, oh, I'm definitely making the moral choice here. And then it's like, well, sorry, because you did that bridge fell, and now all the good people are dead, and that's on you. You should have sacrificed this one person.
when
Really?
I
That happens in
Always,
The Witcher?
I never do a do-over.
when I played the worst video game ever made, I knew within the first 20 minutes that you were actually the bad guy of the story.
Which is what game?
Shadow of the Colossus.
That's a deep,
Terrible
that's a
game.
deep one, though.
Huh?
That's a deep one. Like that message in that, like you're just going around taking down these things.
Well, you know, this is the thing, is like I got to the first Colossus and I noticed that he would just walking away from me unless I tried to hit him. And then I was like, he's just trying to knock me away from him. He's not trying to chase me and murder me. And I'm like, I think I'm the bad guy. And for some reason, it dawned on me immediately that you're the bad guy. And I don't think everybody caught that right up front. But I noticed that the first Colossi was not trying to attack you. He was trying to walk away from you, and unless you attacked him.
So I got a question for you, and there's a bit of lead to this. So like old games that are very linear, like Super Mario 64, dropping the penguin off the edge, or
Yes.
like Sims deleting the stairs. The game is like a sandbox, and we all had the same experience in the sandbox. Then, like for example, I pulled some out here. Then games started getting like the conditional logic. So like in Mass Effect, did you like give the Krogans back their ability to breed, or were you a dick? Or like Knights of the Old Republic, were you a Sith or you were a Jedi? In The Witcher, and then you can start talking to people about the decisions they made, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't do that. What happened?" Or like, "Yeah, I'm glad you did the same thing." So people still have the same like relative experience, but you can like align based on your decisions. In today's gaming, like if you're playing nothing but Fortnite, or if you're playing nothing but Apex Legends, what are those unified experiences or the universal experiences that they have today, if any? Or like, do they not have those? And it's just, oh yeah, I played Fortnite too.
There's no experience in those games.
No, you
There's
know what
not.
the experience for those is? I'm actually going to turn around when I do this, because this is my stepson playing Apex, playing Fortnite, playing all of it. That's it.
Sheer
Jesus
terror.
Christ. You should check out Helldivers. I hate online gaming. I really do. I'm not an online gamer at all. I'm a campaign kind of guy. But I like Helldivers, and I like Helldivers because you're playing with the team against the AI.
Yeah,
and
everybody
you all have
that
the
plays
same goal.
Helldivers is on the same team.
Yeah, and you all have the same goal to accomplish in that. It's like you're just playing missions. You're
Basically,
playing missions.
Basically, think of it like Starship Troopers. You're just
I
there
love
to get
that
It is.
movie. That was the first movie I ever bought for myself on VHS.
If you like Starship Troopers, you're gonna love Helldivers because you're literally it's literally based on Starship Troopers.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, you haven't, dude. Check it out, dude. It's all over TikTok.
Dude, you know
the
what
game
cracks
goes
me
hard
up
as fuck.
is
Hard as
people
hell.
like are quoting Starship Troopers, and they do not. And I'm talking about certain political spectrum people are like quoting Starship Troopers, and they don't realize that the whole movie was absolutely a satire of politics.
Yeah.
Like it's a political satire, and they don't understand that it is made as a political satire propaganda film. We're not supposed to be fighting those bugs. They didn't do anything, you know?
They didn't.
They even like at the beginning, they talk about the one chick was piloting and she screwed up, and it had something to do with an asteroid. And that was the asteroid that originally brought the bugs to Earth. And if she wouldn't have screwed up, they would have never even landed here. It didn't have anything to do with us.
No, the bugs sent an asteroid to Earth to break Earth as like a war thing.
Did they?
That's what they were. Well, that was supposed to be the purpose of it, and that's where the political stuff comes in, where they're like you're covering something else up, and this is why we're going after the planet now.
That it was an accident, and we're going to invade them for their resources.
Exactly.
Right.
So when you say it's like the co-op, is it like I don't know if you remember Evolve? That was like the balanced 4-player co-op.
I do remember that game. Now, Evolve was terrible. It could have been good.
So is it like wave-based firefight, like old school, like Halo ODST, or?
Yeah,
No.
it's a little bit like ODST.
Did you play Helldivers?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I watch Helldiver gameplay though.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So, interesting little fun fact is Helldivers, what it is now in its current form, something extremely similar was pitched by the ODST crew as making a new ODST, and basically what they described is the current Helldivers, which is the most popular campaign game out there. So what it is everybody that plays Helldivers is a Helldiver. You're diving in, you're taking planets from either the bugs or the robots and saving humanity.
You're liberating.
So
for democracy.
Everybody is on the same team, and it is, you want to call it roguelike, because if you die, that Helldiver is dead. You come back and rejoin the game as a different Helldiver.
Yep. You're still on the same level and stuff, but it's like a whole new body coming in.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And your team has to call in for backup to be regenerated.
I think this is so. I was going to say, is this like stuff with Battlefront? And like, I think it is in some respects, but I've heard about this.
In some respects, yes.
The live service component of it is that, like, if enough people don't go and liberate that section, like, it's actually a live service AI, like not Armada or Army, but like it will advance and take that territory if the Helldivers as a collective don't do enough to stop it.
Well, that actually happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually happened because they were what was the name of it? Maladov Creek or something. They were fighting the bugs and or the robots, and they pulled back, and it was like this big battle, and our team was starting to win, so people started to go off to fight this other battle against the bugs. Turns out there's like a dungeon master of Helldivers whose name is Joel, by the way.
Yeah, he's the creator.
Yeah.
He controls it.
And so he increased the robots' forces to where the humans lost that war because too many people left to go fight the other way. And he's like, you know what? Then they're not going to win this campaign.
That might be the differentiator that actually gives this thing sticking power. Because, like, I know there's been, like, Among Us and Fall Guys, Rocket League. There's been a bunch that have come along, Splitgate, that have had 2 minutes of, fame, and then people have gone back to the old faithful. So, but that component, like, where if you don't do your part, then, like, the whole thing can fall. That may keep people on it.
There's never been an online gaming like this released ever. It's the first time, which is amazing to me that in 20 years or even 25 years, this is the first time we have just a 4-man team going in, or just a team going in online to fight the AI. And the AI is hard as hell. They kill you fast. So it's amazing to me. I think this is where online gaming is going to start going. I think people are over the player versus player bullshit because it's been going on for 25 years. PvP sucks because you know what? If you're an amateur going into PvP, you're dead instantly, consistently. They'll just consistently kill you or kick you out of the fucking game, and it sucks to play with. And the community is toxic. Dude, Helldivers? The first 10 minutes I was playing it, I'm on with 4 other guys, and we're all mic'd up, and their levels are higher, and I'm a level 1. And I'm like, guys, I'm literally like, I've been in this for 5 minutes. I have no idea what I'm doing. They explained how to play the game as we were going through the missions. Like, they taught me how to play the game on my first level ever. It was like the best experience I ever had playing the game.
And the best thing is that it's currently on PS5 and PC. So
and Xbox.
It's not on Xbox yet.
It's not on Xbox yet?
No, and that's why everybody keeps calling for reinforcements, because they want Xbox players to join in. They want the Xbox reinforcements that they don't have any of. And the Xbox players want it. I mean, it's all on Sony right now to approve it because it's their game.
But it's on Steam, though, too. So it's on PC?
Yeah, but it's Sony published.
Oh, shit. They should cross-platform into Xbox. That'll be the biggest game ever made. They really do. Dude, they released mech suits a week ago, and then today, the creator of the game, he's like, oh, let's put some flying bugs in this now. So now there's flying bugs. So now they're coming from the air and the land at you.
my son told me he was, oh, fuck that. I hate that there's a person that can, change their mind and twist things. Just one guy. It's too much. And I said, dude, you don't understand. You never grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons. You don't understand the necessity for a good dungeon master. And that's basically what Helldivers has,
Yeah.
because he can make a creative decision that an AI may not be able to make, because
And it's only $40.
yeah,
It's worth
That's
it.
awesome.
It's $40 and like a 21 gigabyte download.
I think you're right that that'll become the direction that live service heads into, because what you just talked about there, where I made the point that what community or what shared experience do the players of Fortnite or the generation that grew up with the PvP, because you don't have a team because you're killing everyone. Like
Right.
You can't really team up. It's not a team of 4. But your first game, bam, you found a community, and
Yeah.
maybe even 3 other players, but you all had a shared experience, and I think that's what really brings people together around a game and gives a game
Exactly.
If it doesn't have a community, it's not going to survive.
Right. And it was I think it was a shared experience of doing the same thing on the same team with the same objectives, and then people were telling you and helping you help them achieve that objective too. It was a really enjoyable experience. It really was. Changed my outlook on an online gaming, and it's probably the only game I'm ever going to play online unless another one comes out like that. I tried COD. I tried COD back on Call of Duty 2, the big red one. I tried Halo. I've tried Destiny Online. I've tried Grand Theft Auto Online. Can't do it. Grand Theft Auto Online's hard as hell. Dude, as soon as you spawn, there's like somebody right there to run you over with a car, and it's like, motherfucker. Like, it's funny to you, but not to me.
I still say that I think we grew up and lived through the golden era of video games. I don't think Call of Duty's been good since Modern Warfare, like what you were 2007, Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, that was
everything after
iconic.
that was just a shameless copy paste cash grab. But that one set a new stage. That redefined a genre and changed the gaming landscape.
I find it interesting that to this day, I think, in my opinion, as a non-Call of Duty player, all right, just objectively looking back in, I would have to say Modern Warfare 2. Because as an objective onlooker and as a seller, no Call of Duty game holds a value over $5 except for
Modern Warfare 2.
I'm sorry, it's Black Ops 2. It's
Oh.
Black Ops 2.
Gotcha.
So every used copy of Call of Duty, no matter what platform, is a $5 game for the most part, except Black Ops 2.
I played Black Ops 1. I've got Black Ops 1 here, but I don't think I played Black Ops 2.
I never played 2. I played a little bit of Black Ops 1. I couldn't get into Black Ops 1, so I never finished it, and I never got into it. So I thought that they were almost trying to copy Modern Warfare, and Modern Warfare was 10 times better.
Well, isn't it all the same game at the end of the day?
I thought the story and the campaign was fantastic. The campaign had me going on Modern Warfare, is what it was. Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3. I thought 2 was the most intense. But yeah, those games I thought were awesome.
The Spec Ops, like the special missions that you could do outside the campaign, I did them with my younger brother. For me, that was the shared experience that made that game awesome. I can't remember the campaign for Modern Warfare 2, which kind of, I guess, speaks to my experience of it.
Yeah, I only bought those games for the campaign, and they're only like 6-hour campaigns. Yeah. Except for the first one. The first one had a really long campaign. That was enjoyable. That was the first first-person shooter game where you can shoot through a wall.
I played the remaster of that like late last year. That game has aged well.
Oh yeah.
Look, I'll be honest and say, like, for example, Ocarina of Time, it's still my favorite game of all time. It hasn't aged that well. Like, you go back and play it, and you're like, this doesn't hit the way it did. Man, that remaster of Modern Warfare, like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, fucking hell, that was good. That was good game time.
You can go in because they didn't change anything. They just redid the game all over again, and they remastered it. They
just put on this screen that they already did on that one.
They didn't change shit on it. It was fantastic. Now, you know what? You know what else was a fucking great experience for a remake? Dead Space. Oh, dude, the one that they came out with for PS5
Yeah.
And the new Xbox, it was a fantastic remaster of the first one, and they changed a couple things just to make the game a little bit better. Like as far as we're not exactly the gameplay, but like the weapons, they added a new weapon where it's just like a straight laser beam, and you're just cutting through the necromorphs like it's nothing. And I was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. That was a good remake.
So going back to the concept of shit, I see someone said, all Black Ops was fire.
Yeah, actually, that's my brother that said that. That's my little baby brother, little tiny baby Jesus.
Well, it's good, but going back to the whole idea of shared experience, I think Black Ops may have been the first one with zombies, or at least one of the first ones that had a real presence for zombies. And
Right.
that's one where it starts off in the safe room with the full presidents or whatever, and then that good. But again, shared experience, you get your people together and do wave after wave and see how high you can get, or trying to get the ray gun out of the mystery chest.
Right. Well, all right, Bill, what do you say, man? You want to cut it?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
We've been going for almost an hour and a half, or over an hour and a half now. What are you looking up? Yo, Gabo, up here.
I was looking up to see what the first Black Ops with zombies was. I think it was Black Ops 2.
The first Call of Duty with zombies? I think it was it World at War? Didn't that have zombies?
Oh, you're right, it was too. This one definitely has it, but yeah. I think
So,
what was first?
Do you collect the graded games that are like they hold something to you? Because I never seen anybody with a Modern Warfare graded.
So for me, it's two things. One is the games that mean something to me. So Mario 64, Ocarina of Time. Also, with my kids now gaming, any game that they really love, I'm buying it in like a VGA 95, like pristine gem and preserved. So I've got a whole bunch of Switch games here.
Nice.
Because it's their favorite games, and eventually I just want to give it to them. But for me, it's games that either have a special connection to me or games that have value in terms of video game history. So like Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, for me, that really upped online gaming and also helped redefine the first person genre. Eventually I'll get a GoldenEye 64 because that was one of the first really great both movie adaptations and first person shooters. And then, the cultural significance, again, The Last of Us, really great, emotionally driven storyline.
The only game that made me cry.
Things, but yeah, it's either something that meant something to me or something that meant something to video game history or culture.
All right. Okay, that's cool. That's super cool. Are you VGA or are you WADA?
I'll do anything. I've got CGC, I've got WADA, I've got VGA. I'm pretty agnostic. Depends what the turnaround times are and what the fees are. If I've got a code, again, I don't care about the grade. I want the preservation, and sometimes I'll choose the case based on the game, what'll look good. Or
that's what the fuck I'm talking about.
There
because to be honest, that's what grading should be about, is the preservation.
Right. I agree with that. Not how much it's going to cost when you grade it.
It's like this here, the Witcher cover art, it looks beautiful. The first season of the TV show was fantastic. The books are great. I didn't want anything to distract from this, so I got it in VGA. In Star Wars Battlefront, the blue against the black and the green, it just looks good.
Right.
Yeah, the cover art is where it's at.
I don't care about any drama for the grading companies or the lawsuits or if anyone has a hard on for any of them. For me, it's just you got a good product and you'll grade it and you'll preserve it, and then I get it back in a reasonable time so I can share it with my kids and look at it while I'm working, or sell it and then give it to someone else who loves it. Great. For everything else, it's just noise.
We also came from a genre where the cover art of the box is what made us buy a game or play the game too.
Oh, I mean, just this, I get to look at this all day because I'm on Zoom calls all day. Just the solid gold of the old Zelda games and everything. It just, and the gold cartridge as well, just iconic. Just love it.
All right, guys, let's call it. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Lyndon, thank you so much for joining, man. Come back anytime. This was good conversation. Super awesome. Love that graded collection you got going on too.
Thanks, man.
That's awesome, man. Totally awesome. Love your pirate story too, man. Such a good conversation. Thank you so much. Everybody, y'all have a good night.
Good night, y'all. Thank you.